In January 2025, the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists set the Doomsday Clock to 89 seconds to midnight. According to the physicists and Nobel laureates who incarnate it, humanity has never been closer to global catastrophe. This danger follows decades of progress. At the height of the Cold War, the world held roughly 70,000 nuclear warheads. Through sustained diplomacy and binding agreements, the United States and the Soviet Union successfully reduced that global stockpile to around 12,000. But that legal framework is now gone. In February 2026, New START, the New Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, which was the final agreement capping deployed strategic warheads between Washington and Moscow, expired. The United States and Russia still control nearly 90% of all nuclear weapons on Earth. Today, there is no successor treaty being negotiated to replace New START, and no legal limits constraining either arsenal. The 50-year policy of global nuclear reduction is over. We have entered a completely unconstrained, multipolar arms race. To understand the geography of this rapid acceleration, we look first to the Gobi Desert in northern China. Satellite imagery reveals that Beijing is constructing approximately 350 new intercontinental ballistic missile silos, storage and launch facilities for ultra-long-range weapons capable of crossing the globe across massive desert fields. This chart shows China's projected warhead growth. Starting from roughly 500 warheads in 2023, China is adding about 100 new warheads every year. That is the fastest expansion rate of any nation on Earth, putting them on track to exceed 1,000 warheads by 2030. Western analysts assess China is building this vast network of silos to guarantee enough missiles could survive a preemptive strike to retaliate, specifically aiming to overwhelm American missile defense systems stationed in the Pacific. China's abandonment of minimum deterrence creates a three-way standoff that the current diplomatic order wasn't designed to handle. Because arms control was built for two players, any attempt by the U.S. to match Russia's numbers now leaves it with a massive surplus over China, triggering a cycle of expansion where no side can find a stable point of parity. While China expands its physical infrastructure, Moscow is rewriting the psychological rules of nuclear war. In November 2024, the Russian government officially updated its nuclear doctrine. The revised policy explicitly lowered the threshold required for the Kremlin to authorize a nuclear strike. Under these new parameters, Russia can legally justify a nuclear response to purely conventional military attacks if they threaten the existence of the state, or in the event of aggression against its closest ally, Belarus. This doctrine is backed by the world's largest nuclear arsenal. Russia maintains thousands of warheads on high operational alert, ready to launch within minutes from submarines, aircraft, and heavily armored mobile launchers. By formalizing this deliberate ambiguity, Russia has turned nuclear weapons into an active, everyday tool for geopolitical coercion. Moving south into the Middle East, the geopolitical map fractures further. In June 2025, the United States and Israel launched coordinated military strikes against Iran's primary nuclear facilities. The immediate blowback was severe. Iran expelled all international inspectors from the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, which is the global watchdog for nuclear security. This severed global oversight, leaving Iran with a ghost program and an estimated stockpile of enriched uranium sufficient to build multiple nuclear weapons. The first domino fell shortly after. Fearing a nuclear-armed Iran, Saudi Arabia, led by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, signed a mutual defense agreement with Pakistan and established nuclear power. Drawing Pakistan into this regional web carries extreme risk. Just months earlier, in May 2025, Pakistan and neighboring India fought a brutal 88-hour multi-domain war that included the live launch of ballistic missiles. The danger lies in Pakistan's military strategy. Their doctrine of full-spectrum deterrence explicitly rejects a no-first-use policy. If the Pakistani military begins losing a conventional war against Indian forces, their doctrine authorizes the preemptive launch of tactical nuclear weapons directly on the battlefield. These overlapping defense pacts mean a single regional misstep could instantly drag 4 different nuclear-armed or nuclear-capable states into a hot war. Beyond geography, the delivery hardware is compressing the timeline of modern warfare. Russia, China, and the United States are actively deploying hypersonic glide vehicles. Traveling at more than 5 times the speed of sound, These weapons reduce the warning time for a target nation from the traditional 30 minutes of a standard missile launch down to just single-digit minutes. This timeline illustrates the severe compression of human response time. To handle these shrinking windows, militaries are integrating AI into their nuclear command systems to process threats faster than humanly possible. Currently, this integration is happening without any international treaties or guardrails. When hypersonic speeds meet AI processing, the window for human judgment closes to near zero. A false positive on a radar screen or a machine miscalculation could trigger a retaliatory nuclear exchange before a human leader even has the chance to intervene. To understand the physical consequences of the system failing, scientists model what would happen during a localized conflict, like an exchange of 250 warheads between India and Pakistan. The immediate, localized impact of those detonations would kill between 50 and 125 million people directly from the initial blasts and the resulting firestorms. This 3D Earth model shows the atmospheric reaction. Mass fires would pump 36 teragrams of black carbon into the upper atmosphere, enveloping the planet. This soot layer would reduce global sunlight, dropping temperatures and collapsing global agricultural systems for over a decade. A geographically isolated nuclear war would trigger a global famine, starving billions of people who had no involvement in the conflict. With our treaties expired, artificial intelligence entering the command loop, and the clock at 89 seconds, human survival now depends entirely on a level of political restraint that simply no longer exists.